Greetings. This is Dinah Monahan.
And Damon Evans with Pro-Life Perspectives. Dinah, you sound a little raspy today.
I know. I wanted to sound like Greta Garbo, or I have laryngitis. One or the other.
You feel all right, though?
I feel great. I just have this funky voice.
Well, I kind of like it, so
you do?
There's a special
sultry.
Treat. Yeah. Sultry.
Sultry, yeah.
Just what we're going for. So, welcome to a special sultry Pro-Life Perspectives. This program is about all things pro-life. It's sponsored by White Mountain Tees and Snowflake. White Mountain Tees provides screen printing, embroidery, banner printing, merchandise with your logo on it, and much more for the White Mountain community. Whether it's 25 t-shirts for your family reunion or 5,000 for your big event, they can do it. Businesses can have a professional look with embroidered logos on jackets, hats, other apparel.
And Damon, they deliver. Yep, they deliver right to your door. From Payson to Winslow, Pine Top to Springerville, they bring it to you.
Just go to whitemountaintees.com. That's whitemountaintees.com, or stop by their lovely shop in Snowflake. Okay, Dinah, this is our first radio program of Pro-Life Perspectives. Just to set the stage, I myself am very pro-life, always have been. I've had the opportunity as a filmmaker to serve the pro-life movement. I've been honored to do that, but I'll just be totally transparent and say I am not that involved, and I don't know that much about this thing that I believe in. So for people who are a little bit clueless like me, what are we going to discuss on this program, and why are we doing it?
Okay, let's start with the why first for all of you clueless people out. Not really. All right. No, so many people out there listening actually are pro-life. I mean, their fundamental belief is it is wrong to take the life of an unborn child. But on the other hand, they don't know much about the movement, and they don't know about the history, and they don't know about the current status of abortion, not to mention about abortion itself and how it's done and what it does to women. So this program is to educate and ground people like this who have a worldview that says, this is wrong, but I want to sort of give structure and foundation to that worldview. And we are creating content about abortion that I really hope educates people, and not just educates them, but motivates them. You know, I was actually speaking out about abortion before Roe versus Wade over 50 years ago. We lived in California where abortion was legal, and it had no restrictions. And that's when I first got involved. I was about 20.
I know you come from a long legacy of pro-life activists, some of the pioneers of it.
Yep.
Tell us about what motivated you.
Well, simply put, my parents. My parents were always activists. They got involved fighting abortion when I was a teenager, and we're living in San Diego.
I know your parents did a lot over the years for pro-life, but your mom's creation of the Precious Feet pin is perhaps the most significant. How did that come about?
I joke that I'm the daughter of the mother of the Precious Feet, and that's my claim to fame. But it really was an inspired moment for Mom to create those. In 1969, a young physician named Dr. Sacco was shown the remains of aborted babies by a colleague who was so moved he decided to snap a picture of the tiny feet of the abortion victim, grasped between his finger and thumb. On January 22nd, 1974, the first anniversary of Roe v. Wade, Mom opened the San Diego Union to find a full-page, full-color ad showing this photo. I remember I could actually see her in my mind with that newspaper. I don't know if we all remember newspapers and what they were, but anyway, open, looking at that picture.
Wow.
And she was just so moved. She couldn't quit talking about it. Those feet epitomize the humanity of the unborn. And that photo led her to creating the Precious Feet lapel pin, which is the size and shape of the unborn baby's feet at 10 weeks, which she saw in that ad. Mm-hmm. She ordered a few thousand of the pins to see the reaction, and oh my, people loved them.
It's amazing to think about the impact that they've had. I'm wondering, do you have any stories of babies that were saved, through the influence of the pins?
Absolutely. In fact, over the years, my parents got just a stack of letters from moms who had seen the lapel pin, had abortions planned, or were debating, agonizing over whether to get an abortion, and it was that pin that made them decide not to. There's one young lady who wrote and said she went into a library and it was on someone's collar. She just asked about it. When she was told that that's the size and shape of an unborn baby's feet at 10 weeks, and she happened to have been 10 weeks along, was contemplating an abortion, she looked at that and it changed her mind completely. These tiny pins may be just sort of innocuous and silently sitting on your lapel, but they have a very loud message as to the humanity of the unborn. Mm-hmm. I also know an abortion clinic owner who hated those pins. Carol Everett owned 3 abortion clinics and was doing very well financially. She wrote a great book, by the way, called Blood Money. She is now pro-life and a good friend of mine. She told me that there was a cashier at the grocery store she frequented, and this cashier would wear these precious feet on her lapel, and Carol said she hated those little feet. No words had to be said, but those feet spoke eloquently for the unborn to this abortionist. As the movement grew, literature and supplies were needed. Mom and Dad started developing things for centers and Right to Life groups. In 1993, my dad was diagnosed with cancer, and Mike and I took over the Heritage House, which we moved to Main Street in Snowflake.
Mike is your husband?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, my goodness. Dinah, that story is amazing, especially about the abortion clinic owner. But weren't you and Mike involved years before?
Well, it's sort of hard not to be with parents like mine. When we lived in Taylor, we took pregnant girls into our home 3 at a time. We did this for over 6 years. Thanks to Taylor's aversion to zoning, we were able to move a trailer on the side of our home for the girls' bedrooms. Our 3 oldest were just little then, and that's what they grew up with.
You laid an amazing foundation and are building an amazing legacy. And you're actively involved as board president of New Hope Pregnancy Center now, but you also have quite a history with this ministry.
I do. Actually, I founded it in 1994 as Living Hope Pregnancy Center in Show Low, and we shared a half a room with another ministry, and we had an elegant sheet dividing the two. Sort of tacky. In the following 20 years that I directed it, however, we grew to 3 centers, Show Low, Springerville, and White River. We also added a maternity home and a secondhand store. I retired in 2010, but I'm back. I'm now board president again. Things sort of fell apart, and so we split off from the maternity home and store, which is actually being run by Dream Center, and which they know housing very well. They're doing a very good job, but they didn't know pregnancy centers. And so we asked if we could have our centers back and split off, and we have a new name, New Hope Pregnancy Resource Center. But you know what? We have the same purpose and the same passion as we did in 1994 when we started.
You just mentioned retiring in 2010, Dinah. You did not retire.
Well, I intended to sit on a porch in a rocker and knit, but it went awry.
No.
Instead, I went to Ethiopia. No.
Yeah. Tell us about that.
Mike and I actually took a trip to Ethiopia. We weren't even sure why. And by the time we left, we started the only and first maternity home in Ethiopia, which, by the way, will be another broadcast.
Yeah.
Mike is with Jesus these past 8 years, but I continue the work, housing, training, and educating homeless pregnant young women in Ethiopia. Each girl we take into our program was literally on her way to an abortion clinic when she was intercepted by pro-life Ethiopians. And if she didn't have somewhere to live, she was placed in our program.
Dinah, your life experience as a pro-life activist spans a lifetime and now many continents. We're out of time for this episode, but I can't wait to hear about your work in Ethiopia and all the other things we're going to talk about. So tune in to Pro-Life Perspectives next Wednesday for another informative, educational, and inspirational program.
Yes, and I also want to invite my listeners to come by and visit New Hope Pregnancy Resource Center. We're at 2500 East Cooley, next to the Social Security office, and we're open Tuesday through Friday, 10 to 5. Until next week, be safe,
Be blessed
be kind,
and love life.